I was born in the early 80s in Poland, in a country that was behind the Iron Curtain since the end of World War II. It was the time when the store shelves were empty and it was hard to buy anything. The economy was devastated. People had little, but since I didn't know anyone who had more, it wasn't a problem. When I was a teenager and the economy began to change, finding any, not to mention well-paid job without connections was virtually impossible. Social inequality kept growing. Some people became rich very fast, most became even poorer, including me and people around. But don't get me wrong, there are millions of people who are in a worse position today than I was. I'm talking about it because I know that it takes more than luck to get out of it. What helped me personally were selling skills, but everyone sells something. You sell your time, your work, your knowledge, product or service. Everything revolves around selling. Therefore, it's also your way to success, the way out of poverty to the better world. And to be clear, I didn't have any predispositions and selling skills when I started. I had to learn everything from scratch. And believe me, I was a very hard case. The point is, if I could, you can too. Regardless of whether you are interested in personal growth, you want to improve your sales, social or communication skills, you are in one of the three main paradigms of thinking. What mindset you represent to a large extent determines where you'll be successful or mediocre. And it doesn't matter if someone views himself as a born salesman or as someone who has no persuasive abilities. What's more, what I noticed, so-called born and natural usually embody the second paradigm and are often outclassed by those who initially far behind had an open mind enough to look outside the box and see where they are and where they can be, simply because they have nothing to lose. Salespeople in the first paradigm focus on what to say. They don't believe they have an influence on what happens around them. They are looking for solid information, sales tips and sales advice. Sales scripts, sales techniques, can't catch lines, that's what interests them the most. Like, say this and that to your client or do this or that and you can expect this or that results. And since that obviously doesn't work, results are poor or even if are good, it has nothing to do with sales skills, but rather with product, brand recognition of the represented company or general economy and demand on the market. I know because I have been in similar place for a long time. Those who are more ambitious and persistent keep looking farther and come to the second paradigm, where they begin to pay attention to the tone of their voice, body language, and the emotions behind what they say. They start to notice that how they feel has a huge impact on people around them, what they do, and that the words themselves mean very little. You start to achieve real and measurable results, like a pro, born salesman, and what at the beginning seemed to be unattainable is within your reach. At that point, we can talk about personal growth as we begin to develop abilities that we haven't had before. But it's also only an illusion and a surface level of perception of reality. There is something more profound. The state of mind in which you don't think about gaining success. You embody that success. You do all these previously mentioned things instinctively and consciously and consistently. You feel good about yourself and in what you do. You don't crave for rewards and sales figures. You don't seek recognition. You don't care about rejection and what others think about you. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. And that's when amazing things start to happen. Being in this state of mind, you don't need to change the mode. I mean, your state to be more persuasive in order to achieve good outcomes. Pretend to be anyone else than you really are. No matter if you are talking to your client, colleague, boss or girlfriend. You feel comfortable. You don't feel shame because in your mind, you are the boss. Both in your professional and private life. You know what to say, how to say. You know your value. You start to influence people by being natural. You don't need to force anything. You start to understand that neither words, nor tonality, nor body language, or even your energy don't really matter. It's only who you are. You stop doing, you start to be. But Only a fraction will get to that point, because what's funny, those who have understood this before know what I'm talking about. Those who are still strong rooted in the first or second paradigm are unable to see it. They simply don't hear what I say. And what's more, they think it's fucking bullshit. I know it as well because I had ignored similar words myself in the past. I focused on what I thought was right and best for me, namely what to do and say. Third paradigm cannot be understood rationally. It must be built by experience. It's based on being vulnerable and open-minded. The way to achieve this state of mind is by doing what you fear most, by overcoming your own weaknesses and understanding made mistakes. That's why most people will still be looking for shortcuts. Facing our greatest fears requires courage and involves risk. And that's too much for most people. That's why for the rest of their days they will be only a background compared to others. I hope, like you, who have decided to walk not the easiest but certainly the most fulfilling path. The path of building a better version of yourself. My name is Paweł. I've been in sales for over 15 years. I built a network of contact and sales from scratch several times in my career in open market for companies operating in industrial sector. If you want to know how to make this shift in mindset, please check the link in the description. You will find our next video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you soon.